So before we start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. So, let's get into it. So, the Bears have a new GM. That didn't take long, obviously. He was hired yesterday, and the name is Ryan Poles. He is your new Bears GM. In this video, I'm going to give y'all my thoughts about the hire and what Ryan Poles brings to the team. So, without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, guys? KT here. Back at it with another video. Back at it with another Bears offseason video. The Bears have finally found their new GM. New Bears GM Ryan Poles. Obviously, this guy was highly touted by the Bears because he beat out 5 other candidates in an interview, and they interviewed him twice. So obviously, this hiring was well deserved. Clearly, the Bears ownership saw something they liked or heard something they liked, and they thought this guy was the correct choice for the job. Now, real quickly, I'm gonna get these 3 points out of the way and give y'all my thoughts on the hire. The first thing that Ryan Poles brings to the job is he has a good eye for offensive line talent. Now, if there's one thing that Kansas City, obviously he comes from a Kansas City background. He's worked with Kansas City his entire career. So after last year in the Super Bowl, he made a lot of changes to the Chiefs' offensive line. That was one of the things Ryan Pace did not do well in Chicago, is build an offensive line around the quarterback. Well, this guy, Ryan Poles, he has really been consistent with offensive linemen, from drafting Eric Fisher to from Mitchell Schwartz and a lot of other guys like Joe Thuney and Orlando Brown, the newly acquired Orlando Brown for the Chiefs. This guy has a lot of talent in finding offensive linemen. Now, that's one thing the Bears really need. If they don't have depth at offensive linemen, they need somebody who can fill in them gaps when guys go out. They might need another tackle or another guard. They definitely need a center. So, building an offensive line is one of the advantages Ryan Poles brings to this Bears team. Something Ryan Pace could not get done. But I think this guy, clearly from his resume with offensive linemen, I think he can find offensive linemen pretty easily. Now, the second thing, he brings to the table is that he's worked with all different types of schemes, all different types of, philosophies. Now, let's say this. This isn't going to be like a forced arrangement for the Bears. Now, whoever Ryan Poles hires as the head coach, whether it's Jim Caldwell, Dan Quinn, Matt Eberflus, if I said his name right, and there are a lot of other coaching candidates out there for this Bears team. Obviously, he's worked with almost every single scheme imaginable. He's seen almost every single scheme imaginable, and he knows he basically has a lot of experience with every single philosophy and scheme. He's worked with 3 separate regimes from in Kansas City, and you know what? He's been in a winning culture for most of his time in Kansas City, so really, him being around all those different schemes and philosophies and management regimes, it didn't really affect his, stock as a GM candidate. So, really, that's the second thing he brings to the table is flexibility when hiring and, fitting into different schemes. Because this guy, he can fit in almost anywhere with any regime. So I don't see him having any problems with management or coaching or finding coaches to coach his team. Now, the next thing that he brings to this team, and this is the final thing, is that he's a very good scout and with finding personnel. He's a very good scout. Obviously, if you work in Kansas, 2017, this guy was the executive director of college scout team. Now, who did the Chiefs draft in 2017? Look no further than the man on your screen in the Chiefs jersey, number 15, Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm not saying he was responsible for drafting Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying, he was the main reason they drafted Mahomes. But to be an executive director of college scouting in 2017, you got to have some say-so on who the team drafts and what you saw in this guy. And what they saw was a Hall of Fame quarterback already. So he brings a lot of good experience in scouting, in personnel. He can find talent to put around our franchise quarterback in Justin Fields. And you know what? He probably has a good resume with drafting and finding good college players coming out of this year's draft. We have a lot of needs on this team. Not as much as other teams, but we have some needs on this team that need to get fixed. And I think he can do that. He has a very good resume with scouting and personnel. Obviously, if the Chiefs have turned into a superpower in the AFC, he's been around the culture of winning. Every year, the Chiefs are basically a perennial Super Bowl candidate. So, and he's worked in all different facets of scouting and personnel, from the very bottom to the very top. So, that's one thing he brings to a table. He knows what he's doing when he's finding these college scouts and finding talent in the draft. Now, personally for me, I think the hire is a very good hire. It's not an A+ hire. It's very low key, but this guy seems very confident in himself. And to run a team, you got to have some type of confidence to run a team like the Bears. You got to have some type of moxie to you. So, and that shows because, before I end the video, that shows what type of confidence he has, because before he got hired, he even asked for full control of the coach on who was going to be the coach of this team, which we still do not have yet, but I trust that he can find the right coach for this team. He asked for full control of the coaching search. So that just shows, this guy knows about football. This guy, he's not scared to go out and look for, different coaches and interview different guys to coach his team. And really, he just has confidence that he knows he can probably fix this team from the ground up. So I like the hire. I think that Ryan Poles is a fresh breath of fresh air. And I think, he can really be the changing point for this team. He's worked with multiple regimes. He was promoted every single time. Under every single regime for the Chiefs, he has been promoted every single time. So that just shows this guy was highly touted and there was a rising star in the front office position. And we poached him from the Vikings, so that makes it instantly better. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section about this hire. When they hire a coach, I will come out with a video for that. But you know what? If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. Hit that like button. It helps the channel grow. Follow me on social media, as I will be talking about this throughout the week. And I'm out. Peace.